Oh, you're the Pujari. You're not.
She's the cook, I'm the Pujari. Yeah.
Jai Saparikshi Guru Garanga Sunda Radha.
Sisi Guru Garanga Radha Gidid Hanijuki. I don't know, the Sunda bit keeps coming and going.
Right.
It wasn't Sunda in Green Street. Now it's Sunda, then it isn't.
Hare Krishna. Can't have too much Sundar anyway. And he is Koop Sundar, so. Oh, the blue light is on. Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone to our small program tonight. We've sang the Arti and we're singing the song in of Raghunath Das Goswami and praying for a dwelling near beautiful Govardhan Hill. But we thought we should finish the forward of the Prapana Jivanamrita. We read a little over half. Was it yesterday or the day before? Can't remember. Anyway, we read half. So we should continue with that. So Jai Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Deva Swami Maharaj ki Jai, and Jai Srila Bhakti Rakak Shidadev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, our divine masters through whom everything wonderful is coming to us, through the hearts of those high and holy, saintly personalities. So let's see where we were. Thanks, Didi. Okay, so we'll start where I think more or less we left off. It's page XX1V, XXIV in the English book.
You're in the second paragraph.
Yes, I think. Anyway, I'm going to start where it says, Krishna is not within our purview. And thus we are always recommended by scriptures and saints to approach the bona fide divine master and Vaishnavas. To satisfy the Supreme Lord, the criterion is to satisfy our Gurudev. If Gurudeva is dissatisfied with us, the Lord is surely dissatisfied. An analogy has been cited in the scriptures where the Lord is compared to the sun. The Guru is a pond and the disciple to a lotus flower. If the pond withdraws, the very sun will scorch and dry up the lotus. And the lotus will be cheered by the sun as long as the water supports and surrounds it. And then Guru Maharaj quotes the Guruvastakam, Yasya prashadad bhagavad prashado yasya prashadad nagati kutopi jayangstu vangstasya yasaschi shandam vande guru shi charanarvindam. I bow down to the lotus feet of Sri Gurudev. By his grace we achieve the grace of Krishna. Without his grace we are lost. Therefore at daybreak, noon and evening, we meditate upon and sing the glories of Sri Gurudev and pray for his mercy. The Vaishnava Guru's dealings with the disciple are all grace, and his grace is his will to extend his wealth to the disciples. His instruction is the medium of asserting his will, which is service for the satisfaction of the Lord. And by service, we invite his grace. By an earnest desire to serve, we draw his sympathy and his willing extension of goodwill to encourage us in our relationship with the supreme entity. Firstly, surrender. We must offer him exclusive respect, pranipata. Otherwise, we shall not allow ourselves to approach him. Secondly, we may make our sincere and substantial inquiry, pariprashna. In a surrendered spirit, we may hear our Divine Master's messages, which he delivers to us from his venerated seat, the Vyasa-san. In that conducive setting, the proper inspiration and dictation may fortuitously come down to us. And finally, to render service, sevaya, enables us to taste the essence. On the instruction of his Gurudev, Deva Rishi Narada, Vyasadeva had to undergo a progressive development. Narada is established in non-calculative devotion, Jnana Shunya Bhakti, or Jnana Vimukta Bhakti Parama. And above Narada is Uddhava, who is established in exclusive divine love for Krishna, Premaika Nishta. Until one reaches Goloka, where there is full-fledged Krishna conception, all other stages may be changeable. There is no further change when one is firmly established in his loving relationship with the original Lord, Svayam Bhagavan, Krishna. In the narrative of Brihad Bhagavatamritam, Gopakumar passes through Vaikuntha, Ayodhya, Mathura, Dwaraka, and then he finally arrives in Vrindavan. There, his particular divine relationship with the Lord finally culminates in friendship, Sakhya Rasa. For him, the previous stages were passing, although for others a permanent relationship may occur in one of them. They are progressive stages of positive immortality. On the banks of the Godavari River, in progressively deeper and deeper plains, the entirety of theological development was expressed in the conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Sri Ramananda Rai. A positive hierarchy of divine relationships with the Lord exists in progressive stages for the various types of devotees, each type having its characteristic central relationship. In the divine realm, the depth and degree of surrender may also be measured according to the science of mellows, rasa tattva, peacefulness, servitorship, friendship, parenthood, and consorthood are the natural divisions, each consecutively of a finer layer, and higher than even the direct consorthood of the Godhead is the most elevated of the entire compass of devotional services. The divine service of the supreme predominated moiety, Sri Radha Dasya. according to the intensity of surrender, to the point of no return. The quality of the magnitude of truth encountered may be measured. The inner sweetness of the truth and its infinite characteristic attracts the devotees' hearts to the highest degree, so much that they never feel any satisfaction of achievement in what is actually the acme of their highest fortune. In Vaikuntha, only peacefulness and servitorship are present, with a hint of friendship. If we commit the offense of giving more attention to law than to love, we will be cast down from Goloka to Vaikuntha. Goloka is the land of love, and there the inhabitants know nothing more. And by love is meant self-sacrifice and self-forgetfulness for the service of Krishna, without a care for one's good or bad future. Without a care for one's good or bad future. Total risk in the extreme. In his Bhakti Sandarbha, Sri Jiva Goswami defines Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as more than Lord Narayan of Vaikuntha, the most powerful in all phases. Above that, his existence, appearance, and nature attracts everyone to serve him, love him, and die for him. Bhajaniya Guna Vishishta. His qualification is so beautiful. Thus, the highest conception of the Godhead is Krishna conception, and he can be known by the devotees in Krishna consciousness. Those who serve and worship the Supreme Lord according to the scriptural regulation and calculation belong to the category of Vaikuntha worship. In Vaikuntha, in the initial transcendental conscious conception, Adokshaja, the Godhead as Lord Narayan accepts reverential service in his majestic dignity. But the devotees of the highest order are exclusively surrendered to the service of Lord Krishna with their innermost love and faith. The Krishna conception of Goloka Vrindavan is corroborated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the greatest interpretation of the Vedic scriptures. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is known to be Krishna himself, united with his highest potency, Sri Radha. Mahaprabhu, Sri Chaitanya Deva, has clearly revealed that the genuine interpretation and purpose of all the revealed scriptures is to faithfully guide us to the highest goal, the domain of love and unconditional surrender unto the central power of truth personified in Lord Krishna as beauty and affection. Not power, but affection is the highest force to attract us all. Consciously or unconsciously, the absolute position is held by love and affection. And love is superior to all power and knowledge. It is the real fulfillment of the inner heart. Our inner existence wants only love, beauty, and affection, neither knowledge nor power. The finite cannot capture the infinite, but the infinite can make himself known to the finite. And when the infinite appears as a member of the finite land, the highest gain of the finite is achieved. Krishna carries his father's shoes, and he cries when chastised by his mother. Through love, the absolute comes down to the finite. The infinite's most intimate approach to the finite is found in Vrindavan. The infinite comes to embrace the finite in its fullest capacity, aprakrita, mixing with finite things so closely that people cannot perceive the Lord's transcendental godly character as the divinity. We, the infinitesimal souls, can attain our greatest fortune when the infinite comes to us in his highest approach, as if he were one of us. His approach is so merciful, so great, so intimate, and so perfect. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is sweetness and magnanimity combined, openly announced that we are all natural slaves of the highest entity. But this is slavery to the great force of love and beauty. It is the greatest fortune to be utilized in any way by the absolute existence, knowledge, and beauty, to be in harmony with the highest center. No one is forced or barred, but this is the soul's intrinsic nature. Faithfully, in the divine succession from Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Ashtottara Shata Shishimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada, especially inspired by the divine message of Srila Thakur Bhaktivinoda Sharanagati, and attending the authentic Gaudiya Vaishnava literatures such as Sri Hari Bhakti Vilas and Bhakti Sandarbha, as well as the writings of other authorized divine successions such as the Ramanuja Sampradaya, this Sri Sri Prapana Jivanamritam has been compiled in order to supply the devotees spiritual sustenance and nourishment. Surrender is the indispensable necessity in the life of a devotee. And life nectar of the surrendered souls will sustain and fortify the surrendered souls as the nectar in their lives of positive and progressive immortality. Jai! Jai Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai. Shri Prabhupada Jivanamrita ki jai. Shri forward. This is just the forward to the Shri Prabhupada Jivanamrita. And Guru Maharaj is just, given in such perfect, condensed, succinct, beautiful words. What he's doing, why this is being presented. So we'll read the publisher's note. It's short, it's Gurudev. It came before the foreword, but we can read that as well, and then we're ready to go on. So this was written years later when the Prabhupada Jivanamrita came out in English. by Srila Bhaktisundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. All glories to the Divine Master and the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna Chaitanya. And Gurudev says, Shri Shri Prapana Jivanamritam, the life nectar of the surrendered souls, this book, is the crown jewel of divine literatures, as the eternal elixir of life for the exclusively surrendered souls, the bestower of the perpetual relish of full-fledged nectar, and the awakening and sustaining fountainhead of life in divine consorthood. Indeed, who can fittingly portray her holy glory and renown? He's referring to the book. Who can fittingly portray her holy glory and renown? In the same way, we cannot but feel ever inadequate when we attempt to sing the glories of the illustrious author, our most worshipful Divine Master, Om Vishnupad Shri Srila Bhakti Rakak Shridhar Goswami Maharaj, the dearmost intimate attendant of the great pioneer, preeminent among the Gaudiya Acharyas, Sri Gauranga's transcendental message incarnate, Prabhupada Sri Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur. Even without world itineracy, the seat of universal Guru, Jagat Guru, of the world's renowned gurus has been gracefully won by Srila Sridhar Goswami Maharaj, while presiding in the grand, noble distinction of his venerable years of devotional life at the Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat of Navadip, his exclusive personal holy place of bhajan. Since its first printing, which was in Bengali, this sublime literature has brought heartfelt satisfaction to the stalwart devotees of the highest order, being hailed by them as an essential scripture to be unfailingly sung and cultivated as a daily devotional function in spiritual life, as is customarily practiced with the holy scriptures such as the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. In both the Eastern and Western countries, its English publication will doubtlessly be similarly worshipped with the utmost reverence, constantly studied and sung with devotion by the surrendered souls of fine theistic intellect and by the noble souls engaged in their divine search for the Supreme Lord. This monumental work was originally composed in the Sanskrit language. The authentic Bengali translation that was sanctioned by the author is extremely developed, profoundly exploring the heart of the book. Scholars who know the internal, conclusive scriptural purports can alone realize how difficult is its translation and publication into English. Lord Sri Chaitanya Chandra, the fountainhead of all incarnations of Godhead, and by the causeless grace of his most beloved, our Divine Master, and the pure devotees whose hearts are absorbed in divine love, this formidable task has now been fulfilled. Thus I again and again worship the holy lotus feet of them all. For their tireless efforts to usher in the advent of the present edition in its perfectly elegant form. All those God brothers and God sisters who served in the various facets of the publication have attained the unending graces of our Divine Master and the Vaishnavas. They have bound us in eternal gratitude. For executing the task of the English translation, proofing and editing, special mention is due to Tridandi Swami Shripad Bhakti Ananda Sagar Maharaj, assisted by Shriman Nimai Sundar Brahmachari Vidya Vinod, and for their dedicated effort in securing the necessary funds and assistance for the printing and publishing of the work in a most dignified presentation. Special mention is due to Shripad Dayadhara Gauranga Das Brahmachari, Bhakti Pravaka Prabhu, and all the good devotees assisting him. In conclusion, invoking the charming verse of Sri Guru Pada Padma, this humble servant earnestly prays at his holy lotus feet that this crown jewel of sacred writings, Sri Sri Prapana Jivanamritam, may remain with her merciful presence in every land, in every home, and in every heart. And in her gracious acquiescence, may she acknowledge the glorious victory of her goodwill by churning and overflooding the entire living universe with her supramundane wave of ecstatic love, to bless all souls with the supreme good fortune. So he's concluding by this verse of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Shri Shrimad Bhagavat Padam Bhuja Madhu Svadot Svadai Satpadai Nikshipta Madhubinda Vascha Parito Brasta Mukhat Gunjitai Yatnai Kinchada Iharitam Nijapana Shreyotinan Tammaya Bhuyo ito Rajangshi Padasang Lagnanita Sambhaje. Translation: the bees, intoxicated in the festival of drinking the honey of the Lord's lotus feet, busily humming the glories of the Lord, drops of honey from their mouths fall and scatter all around. For my divine prospect, I have carefully collected some of those drops herein, and thus do I worship the dust of the holy lotus feet of those saints again and again. I beg to remain most humbly Tridandi Bhikkhu Shri Bhakti Sundar Govinda, and was written in October 1987, the 93rd Holy Appearance Day of His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Rakak Siddhadev Goswami Maharaj. So, Hare Krishna, these high and holy words that we have to read again and again, that set the stage to begin the Prapana Jivanamrita, which is full of it's life in the it's nectar in the life of the surrendered souls. But for those of us who have been graciously permitted to even conceive of those, to see something of those surrendered souls, then it's also giving us encouragement and nourishment in our desire, however feeble it may be, to try to follow in the footsteps of the surrendered souls and the great Vaishnavas that we've been privileged to have some contact with, and in our attempt to serve them. So anyway, so we've read the introduction, and I encourage everyone at any time to pick up the Prapana Jivanamrita. It's heart substance. That's described so beautifully, the the hearts and the emotions, the transcendental emotions of the devotees, and the Lord's response to that, and so many different things. So anyway, what can I say? I'm just an ant, but we've been blessed with this wonderful crest jewel of scriptures. Gurudev referred to it as the crest jewel of scriptures from our own Srila Guru Maharaj. How fortunate to have even heard his name, what to speak of anything else. So, so we've just read, really. It's been a reading, because you sort of have to apply yourself to read it. You can all read it yourself. It's available, Prabhupada Jivanamrita is available online in different languages, certainly in Spanish and in English. Thanks to it. I was reading it on my PDF, but thanks to it. Gurudev was saying he was so happy that it came in such a dignified form. Of course, it did. There's different printings, but this is that original printing that Gurudev was so happy with, in a beautiful box and beautiful cover, gold, beautiful. So, but now we have it available in Russian and Spanish and Italian and many languages in different formats and digital formats too that are freely available. So if you're not familiar with this book, especially as we're starting a new year, it's a good time to, we heard from Gurudev, it's a good time to revisit again the Prapana Jivanamritam, which is full of real nourishment. It's not hyperbole, we get nourishment from hearing these things. Keeps us going. Hare Krishna. So, Jai Shri Prapana Jivanamrita ki Jai, Srila Bhakti Rakak Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, and Srila Gurudev ki Jai, all the Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai. Saraswati Devi Dasi ki Jai, and Lavanya Didi ki Jai. They are all serving away every day. We're happy to be here in their divine company in the West London Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Bhakti Yoga Institute. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Sundar Radha Ki Radha Ki Jai.
Jai.
Shri Rupanuga Guru Bhag, Shri Rupanuga Guru Bhag Ki Jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. All the unassembled devotees Ki Jai. All the world devotees Ki Jai.
Jai.